Studying abroad is not just about academia, jobs, and careers, but much more, like being independent, personality development, making friends globally, learning about different cultures, traveling, and many more enriching, unforgettable experiences. Hook on to our episodes of Student Spotlight and get fruitful insights about our students who share their beautiful journeys with you. In today's episode, we have an interesting conversation with Sadaf from Amritsar, who is studying her Masters in Organizational and Social Psychology at the London School of Economics. She's extremely passionate about her course and her chosen field. Let's find out about how she got into LSE and what her future plans are. Sadaf, tell us about yourself.
Hi everyone. Basically, my student journey started from my schooling itself, which happened in Amritsar, Punjab. That was my school called Springdale Senior School. It's very famous there. And it was a CBSE board that I did it in. Coming to my 10th grade marks, I got a 10 on 10 GPA. Because at that point of time, it wasn't a percentile system that just got incorporated right now. So it was a 10 on 10 GPA that I got. I was a humanities student. Post that in 12th, I got a 98% in my 12th grade. That was again CBSE board. And I had like humanities, as I mentioned, I had 5 subjects going on: psychology, sociology, political science, economics, and English. Those were my 5 core main subjects. Post that came on deciding to a point where I wanted to do my undergraduation from. And I knew it from the very beginning that Punjab didn't offer what I wanted to do because I wanted to get in psychology. And because it was so mainstreamed in metropolitan cities, so those were my options that I was looking at particularly. I ended up applying because I had gotten a good score. I knew I could get in merit. So I ended up applying to most of the universities, government-based universities in Mumbai, in Delhi, private universities in Bangalore. And I also gave a private examination for Symbiosis Pune, as far as I remember, and Christ Bangalore. I had gotten into Christ Ghaziabad because at that point of time, that was their new main building that had opened up and they were promoting more North students to go there and study. I'd gotten there. I was rejected by Symbiosis, as far as I remember. I had gotten in Delhi universities. I had gotten Gargi College. I had gotten Jesus and Mary College. I'd gotten in LSR. One main reason that I could not go to LSR was because of the Delhi safety reasons, and my parents weren't that open about that situation at that point of time. But then I ended up finally going to Mumbai. I had gotten in government universities, NM, Mithibai College, Sophia College for Women. So all of those were my options. I'd gotten in Jai Hind College as well. But I picked up Mithibai because it was very reputed for arts. The faculty was great there. And my experience in my 3rd year for psychology majors can be compared to what I'm doing with my master's right now. Like I would say it prepared me for how I can come and like actually work for my master's. So it was a great experience at Mithibai. Post that, I have done my postgraduate diploma program in human resource management because I wanted to get into organizational psychology, and that interest came up while I was studying in my undergraduation journey. It basically, just for people who don't know what comprises organizational psychology, that basically means that you're actually there to govern and to look out and to consult people in organizations as to how they can make their organizations better in terms of behavior, in terms of culture, people, policies, whatever that comprises. So you can be called as a consultant if you want to get into organizational psychology. Hence, I wanted to get in that, but first I wanted some hand-on experience as well. So I tried incorporate a long-distance postgraduate diploma program, which I mentioned earlier, human resource program, doing from NMIMS. Because it was a very flexible program, it could give you time as a working individual as well to incorporate as much time as you can give to it. There were like different modules. First semester had very different modules like financial accounting, marketing management, information systems for managers, very practical subjects. It was a good course, I would say. And the second one totally focused on human resource management systems, policies that you could incorporate in the organizations. Alongside, I was doing 2 of the internships that I did. As one of them started with Byju's, the learning app. I did it from April to July, and I guess that was like a 4 months experience that I had as a human resources intern. So basically my work there was to handle in a basic discovery channel program that they were coming up with. So I was incorporated in the task of hiring a lot of students and interns, particular programs. So that was happening there. Then also looking after their attendance trackers, maintaining the policy systems, maintaining their track records for their salaries, everything that was coming in. That was there. That was 4 months experience. Post that, I did one of my internships with Impact Guru. It's a crowdfunding platform. I got in there as a talent acquisition intern. My role there was a bit more advanced than what I did in the previous role. It incorporated taking interviews and going on telephonic conversations with a lot of managers, mid-senior level positions, business analysts, risk managers, graphic designers that I was hiring for the particular company. So it was something which was noteworthy in my resume and in my experience as well. That is till now. After that, after I did my internship, then I decided to pursue my master's. So I was a bit conflicted as to where I want to go for my master's, because my first option was always USA. But I could not crack the GRE, and it was putting me in a mode where I thought I could just be very low on my low esteem. So that is the point where I decided that I want to switch and I want to make a move to UK instead, because UK was actively providing for a lot of job positions at that point of time until last year. If you come up and see, the technical job hiring is a lot in this particular industry, and it's really good for STEM positions if you want to look at that. Second of all, I was attracted by the culture, and I was attracted by the time frame that it gives you, because it's just 1 year. It's a 1 year master's. It's very convenient. It's convenient on your family. If you don't want to be that homesick as well, you can just always go back. And it's something wherein you can just take a year's break and then just go back to working. So it's not that you're entirely pulling out of that work culture itself, because it's a lot difficult when you get into work and then you just like have to pull out yourself and get into academia. So it gets a bit difficult right there. Plus, I was looking at reputed universities that could help me with gaining experience and with gaining good positions if I want to make a shift back to India. So I figured on 5 of these universities that were really good for my program, because psychology is very streamlined and very specific. So I had to dig in deep and like figure out 5 universities. One of them was King's College London. Second of all was London School of Economics and Political Science. Third was University of Leeds. Fourth was Nottingham University. And fifth was University of Manchester. I got accepted from all of them. And that was the best decision to apply at all of the positions, because I had 5 of the university options right there in front of me. And I chose LSE because it has a very high employer reputation back in India, and it's got that credibility along with its name. Plus, I knew that the faculty and I knew that the course module, what the course was offering, was pretty relevant to what I wanted to do. There was one particular course module called Organizational Development, which resonated with me, and hence I wanted to pursue that. So yeah.
Nice. So what got you to crack LSE?
I guess 2 of the major factors were my statement of purpose. It took me 6 months to write my statement of purpose, and it was very, very nicely framed, bringing in everything that I've always wanted to do or want to pursue, and how I am as a person, and what is that one particular professor or course that is motivating me to get in that particular university. And I would say tailor in that particular SOP for every university requirement, and doing your research is the best thing on every university. So that is one thing where I felt that the SOP really helped me express myself, to get in and connect with the university. And second of all, I would say even my letter of recommendations. So there's an option where you can, and I think because it's a university requirement, different universities require different criteria. So there were letter of recommendations which required only 2 academia letter of recommendations, or one of them required an academic or a professional one. So I ended up giving an academic and a professional one. And the professional one came from my manager from Impact Guru, who's right now shifted to HUL. So that was one credible LOR, I would say. And it was very neatly and perfectly aligned with how I wanted it to be. It wasn't that I told her anything about it, but just because I had that connection with my manager in the previous work that I did, and she could see that I had the passion to do what I wanted to do, that came out very nicely in my LOR. That was one thing where I think networking and connecting to my manager really helped me bring that element along in my SOP and LOR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned about your SOP,
Correct.
So what all did you mention? Like what?
Okay.
How big was it? How did you break it
I think
down?
it was about 2 pages, because that was what LSE required at that point of time. because I'm talking about LSE because I got in
Yeah.
the university. It was about 2 pages. It started from an introduction. It described about me, where I come from, where my education was, all my educational background was there. After that, it came up to my professional aspirations as well, and how am I as a person. And in those professional aspirations, how I've connected to my managers and my teachers, and what all projects did I do in my undergraduation that will help me eventually or build my career in this profession as well. So that was something that I mentioned. Other than that, what I mentioned before, my professor, the professor that I could connect with to in LSE, and what kind of research has he done which will motivate me and which is resonating with my interests. So what was that, what I wanted to specifically do, and in the future, what is that particular organization that I get inspired by and I would want to work in, and what would I like to change about it, or what would be my inputs within the organization, and then just concluding it with a statement thanking them and regarding for to consider my application.
Right,
Yes.
nice. It was quite well broken down. So,
Yeah.
how much did you score in your graduation and PG?
I got a 83%
Okay.
for my undergraduation.
So that's Mumbai University.
That's Mumbai University, Mirabai College of Arts. Yes.
Okay. And you did a PGDBM.
I did a PGDM in Human Resource Management. That was also a year's course.
Okay.
That started while I was interning in Byju's. My internship started in Byju's in April 2021 and ended in July 2021. That's precisely when I enrolled myself in the course for PGDM, because that was a long distance course and I wanted to build it my profile to have more credibility, because I came from a psychology background. I also wanted a background to have a backup for if I ever want to, or if I never get organizational psychology positions in India, because that's still developing and the awareness is still coming, I would have like a backup option to get into human resource. So that is how I pursued human resource management, which could build something out of my profile as well. And that started in July 2021 and ended in March 2022 potentially. I gave my exams for that. Those were online examinations that happened. I don't know if they've changed the system a bit now, but at that point of time it was online. It was very convenient, and I scored around 85% there as well.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Did that help as well, do you think?
I think so, because I was ranked as the top 5 students amongst the 700 students that were actually pursuing that program right now. So that is something which is reflecting in my resume and which is building up my profile. And also because there were like a lot of things that humanities doesn't teach you entirely in school. So the practical subjects that came in through that program, like financial accounting, marketing management, is something that I can potentially apply in the future, because I did not belong from an accounts background. I did not know how to pursue marketing. That is something, if I want to in future become a consultant, I would still have a foot in every industry to rotate positions, and this is what I have a background in academia, and how is this I can give my inputs professionally.
Tell me more about your course here at LSE.
Okay.
What kind of modules you have, assessment methods,
Okay.
what is your dissertation on?
Okay. Starting in from my course, it's a very interesting course. It's MSc Organizational and Social Psychology. It's not just organizational, it's also social, because there are people at organizations and there are social phenomena that happen around them. So that is what my course is about. And I had 3 course modules for the first semester. The first semester lasted from September till December, and December was a break after that, but we had our summative assessment submissions going on at that point of time. So the course modules that I had were qualitative research, quantitative research, and then I had organizational social psychology. So within that, organizational social psychology was one of the subjects, but every week we used to have 2 lectures. One would be a theoretical lecture where the professor is basically enticing you with all the information and theories that they want to talk about. And the second in that week particularly would be the readings that have been assigned to us for that particular topic. So if consider it's problem solving, they would give us theories on problem solving. And the next day we had our readings, or before that we had our readings to do on problem solving, what the researchers think about it, what practicality says about it. And the next session, whenever we happened, that was called a seminar session. So within the seminar, you have around a group of 15 to 20 students each. There are like divided 3 sessions so that every student gets a chance to like express themselves. That is the best, I would say, that LSE incorporates. I don't know if it's relevant to all courses, but to my course, I would say that is the best thing, because in the seminars, you have your own say, you have your own opinions, you can have a one-on-one conversation with your professor about what you felt about this particular paper. That is where you basically discuss different theories and incorporate new elements that have been discussed in the lecture as well.
Right.
So those were the 3 subjects that I have. Coming to quantitative and qualitative research, those are the methods that are introduced to us. Of course, we've pursued it in our undergrad as well. But for people who are new to this master's program, it is a very good subject to look at, because in qualitative research, you had all your methods that have been describing interviews, survey methods, how do you incorporate them in organizations. Then comes the qualitative methods, and that is where they teach you R programming. So R programming, they don't tell you how to code in R programming, but they definitely tell you how to interpret the results from R programming, because that is what as a consultant you would do. So they teach you how to put on all those terms and elements that should be producing the result that you want, and that is how you have sessions every week for them as well. And it goes along pretty well, because those 2 methods are taught to us for this particular 3rd spring term, wherein you have your dissertation, and if you want to employ those 2 methods, you can probably pick if you want to go for qualitative or quantitative, and choose whatever you want to choose for your dissertation as one of the methodologies. So that is why they do their work, they teach you that, and then they tell you to do the dissertation. But coming back to this particular winter term, I did have 2 course modules, which are my electives. Those are very interesting. One of them is organizational development, and the second one is corporate communications.
Okay.
So organizational development basically prepares you to be a consultant. I would say that is one of the best electives that I've picked in. It teaches you different kinds of psychoanalytical dimension that could be played and incorporated in organizations, how unconscious dynamics play within organizations, and how you address it with leaders. It's very relevant to change management, but it's also somewhat wherein you draw a boundary. This was my work, this is what I did, and this is what I can to develop and potentially save your organization. But now I have to take a leave, and this is how you can do your work.
Right.
So it teaches the organization as to how to deal with employees, with changing dynamics, a lot of it. That is what my course is about. And the second one is corporate communications. It's very relevant to management consulting again. It is PR, basically. It is how organizations portray themselves out there in the world, how they are concerned about their reputation and power, how their identity plays a role in organizations communicating to each other. And that is somewhere which is very interesting, because every seminar we decipher one organization. So every seminar we have a different organization. We're talking about Disney, we're talking about Walmart, we're talking about BP. It's like different organizations, and you decipher their timelines, what were their dynamics, what went wrong, what strategies could be incorporated to perfect them, all of that. And then you had to, I still have like 2 submissions for that in April, which are our summative assessments. So that is there. Post that, I have my dissertation that I'm still working on, and the procedures are going in the back end. It is based on studying job ambiguity and performance recognition systems within film production houses in Mumbai, India.
Wow, that's quite niche.
Yes. So that I ended up picking up because I have a few friends who are working in film production houses in Mumbai. I've studied in Mumbai for quite a long while. I used to see that they don't have very strict organizational policies and traditional corporate structures that play around a 9-to-5 job. They don't have that. That doesn't come for them.
Correct.
So I wanted to understand, if it doesn't come for them, where does the role uncertainty lie? How do they feel about it? What is the kind of exhaustion or burnout that they're feeling on a daily basis? And performance recognition, how is that helping them? Like,
Correct.
Is there an acknowledgement that they're getting? If
there is no stereotype,
exactly.
There's no standard pattern that anyone could identify.
If not, why are they staying in that organization? Like, those are certain dynamics that I've been wanting to study.
It's quite interesting.
Yes.
Quite a niche to work on.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll get the sample data because that's
sure.
something.
Yes, I'm trying to interview managers from different film production houses. So let's see how that goes.
So what's your plan post your masters? You're staying back here, applying jobs, or going back?
Honestly, in the very beginning of the first semester, I was very motivated to apply for jobs here, and I did apply to some of them. I figured it out, and I think I accepted the fact that it's very vast out there. And if it's vast, it's also a lot of competition, and everyone is just picking out on that one job. So you see one job, there will be over 100 applicants already, even if it's been a day that the job has been posted.
Right.
And you do get the pressure of it. So I figured that if I have a 1 year's experience, even if it's not that relevant to actually make me land up to a position where I can be consultant or a manager already, it's okay if I want to start entry level or freshman. So I guess I'm going to go back to India, not particularly looking at UK job sector right now, because a lot of competition and I would say recession as well. That is one point where I would say like I have to maintain my budget every time and think on it. And because I'm living in a student accommodation right now, it becomes a lot more feasible for you to manage your expenses. But when you know that you're actually earning by yourself, you have to pick out a major chunk, keep some of it for the taxes, keep some of it for the rent, keep some of it for your own personal expenses, for your social life. It's going to be a lot.
Right.
So I think the kind of standard of living and the accessibility that India provides me, in my personal opinion, would be something that I want to choose.
Right.
So I'm going to go back and I'm actively applying right now as well, because I know that I still have like a handful of time on my hands. Even if I'm doing my dissertation, I'm going to actively side by side apply to jobs, give interviews and see where I can
land up.
What kind of
companies or what industry?
I am particularly looking at MNCs, because I've worked and I've gained experience in startups. One of them was an edtech, one of them was a fintech. So I know that their procedures are very task oriented, not people oriented. And because I belong from a background and I have studied organizational psychology where I want to make things better, and where organizations could understand that dynamic better, I would say I would want to get in an MNC. Yes,
which would have
for
room to maneuver.
They actually have some established processes and you become a part of the process. So I think I would want to incorporate that, wherein they tackle those issues of mental health, or if something's going wrong in their organizational culture, how to play around with that and how to make it better. So maybe that, because startups are very, very task oriented again. They're very result oriented, and they don't care about, they don't care about the culture. That's the reality of it.
I understand. If you were to give some advice to our students who are in India and would be applying for masters, obviously everyone wants to be in top universities. What would you advise?
I would say be focused, first of all, and don't lose your discipline. Because of course there is a lot of potential that everyone incorporates, and don't underestimate yourself. That is one thing that I would tell everyone, because you just end up giving less credit to yourself and you end up believing what others say. So don't underestimate yourself, be focused and be a lot more disciplined. Schedule your time wisely as to what you want to do first, and then decide and have like 3 priorities on your list as to if you're applying to your particular university, why are you applying, how can it benefit you in the future, what if it does not happen, what is your alternative backup to it. So just have like that safety net, but also don't underestimate yourself.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of TSS. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure of sharing it with other students and leave us a comment. Your feedback helps us continue to provide valuable content to students everywhere. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world around you. Thank you.